What's up YouTube, welcome back to the channel. My name is Elias, I'm a photographer located in Athens, Greece, and today we're going to do a Lightroom tutorial, and just for a change we're going to use the Lightroom app over here on our phones, which is free to use for everyone. And basically the photo that we're going to edit is this train picture over here that I got on my recent trip in Germany. I uploaded this reel on my Instagram with the behind the scenes of this photo, and it went pretty well, and a lot of people praised the editing that I did on this picture. So I thought to myself, why not just show how I edited from the raw file to the final version of the image. So you can see that there is a big difference between the raw file and the final version, and that's why we are shooting in RAW, in order to recover all the details that we want in our photos. If you shoot in JPEG, you don't have the ability to expand your editing this far, so I always recommend to everyone to shoot in RAW in order to have this extra power in the editing process. But anyways, let's skip all that and go right into the Lightroom app. And I have the Lightroom app over here open already. This is the original RAW file that we have, and first things first, we are going over here on the light in order to do our basic corrections. And what we see here is that the picture is actually underexposed by a lot. This happened because I wanted to expose for the sky, because I know that I can get the shadows back later. If you overexpose your sky or your highlights in general, it's harder to bring back the details rather than bring back the details from the shadows. So let's expose it a little bit properly. Something around here I think is nice. Let's also add a little bit of contrast. Something like that seems just about right. And because we want to recover and keep the details on the sky, we're going to take our highlights over down. Something like, I don't know, 97 seems about right. Like I said earlier, we want to recover our shadows, and this is the easy part to do if we underexpose them and not overexpose the highlights. So let's, I don't know, go around 50 or something, or 60. I think this looks just about right. So about the whites, we're going to do the same thing as earlier. I think around 50. About the blacks, in order to add a little bit of contrast on our image, I'm going to reduce them just slightly. I think about here is just about right. So let's continue on and go over here on the colors. I think I'm going to warm up a little bit my image. About here seems about nice. The tint is purple enough, I think. Maybe we can do it a little bit more about here, because we want to achieve this purple look that you saw earlier on the final image. And let's also boost the vibration just a tiny bit. We can also come back later to this. The saturation also, because we want to make the colors pop. Let's go to the colors, and we're going to skip the red one. And we're just going to reduce and actually increase the hue of the orange one. Actually, I kind of want to reduce it, to be honest. I'm not so sure. Going to reduce it, I think. Looks better on the sky, and also over here on the windows and on the train, on the letters. About the yellow one, I'm going to also reduce that, because I really like the orange that we get out of the exact same spots over here on the building, on the train, and also we are slightly changing the color to a more moody color palette over here on the tree, and the same thing with the greens as well. Something like that, I think. All right. What did I press? Done. Okay. And now let's go to the grading. Oh, we're going to skip the shadows for now, I think, and we're going to continue on with the midtones. Something like, I don't know, I want to have something reddish orangey, something like that. It's really hard to do it with a touchscreen. Anyways, and about the highlights over here, not the luminance. What is? I never use this. Anyways, about the highlights, we also want to give a moody color palette again on our highlights, something like that. I think this looks just about right. Does it? I think it does. Okay. For now, this is the before and this is the after. You can see that we did a lot of work already, and I think the color palette is just about right. Let's maybe add a little bit more pink over here on the tint, with the tint. Yeah, I think this looks pretty nice. Maybe reduce it just a tiny bit. No, I can't decide. Okay, let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. And let's continue on over here with the effects. Usually, I don't like bringing up the clarity. I like to soften my images just a tiny bit, but in this case, the clarity gives this extra wow effect on the image because we have a lot of reflections, we have a lot of graphic scenery with these beautiful buildings, the water, the sky, and also the train. So I think a little bit of clarity is what we need in order to make this image pop even more. And what else? What else? Maybe take out a little bit of dehaze, because I really like the glow that we get out of the picture when we reduce the dehaze. You can see that this brightened up a little bit over here, the details and the highlights over here on the buildings, on the water, on the sky as well, and on the train. Like I said earlier, I want to contain the highlights of the sky, and this is where the pro version of Lightroom comes into play. We're going to do the masking over here, and we're going to make a mask on our sky. I can select the sky over here, but my phone always crashes for some reason when I do this. Lightroom, please fix this. So we're going to do it manually with just a brush. So we're going to just simply brush over here on the sky. Alright. And right like that. It's not going to be perfect right now because it's just for the video purposes. You can always go back and erase some of the details that you did wrong over here on the building, because we don't want the buildings to be affected. Exactly like that. Let's brush a little bit more. What we do now, in order to bring back the details of our sky, is basically we're going to the effect slider and we're going to add a lot of dehaze. Something like that. Maybe we can add more. Let's do a better brush. Something like that. Really nice. Are we actually brushing? Yes, we are. Okay. And that's how you bring back the details on your sky. We are using the dehaze slider on the sky only. Okay. And we also want to get a gradient from below in order to make a slight vignette in the foreground. Something like that. Alright. And I think this final image looks pretty nice, at least in my eyes. Obviously we can do a little bit of a better job on the masking on the sky, but I just did it in a few seconds for you in order to see the massive difference that a nice mask with dehaze on your sky can do. So if you want to see more editing tutorials like this one, let me know down below. Let me also know if you prefer the Lightroom tutorials from the phone or from my PC. Usually I edit all of my pictures on my PC, but when I'm traveling I don't have it with me together, obviously, so I just edit some of my photos that I like on the go with my phone. Anyways, this is where I'm going to end the video. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, maybe hit the like button. This really helps out with the algorithm. And if you're new here, maybe consider subscribing. I usually do photography on the field and stuff like that, so if you want to see my photography adventures, make sure to keep an eye out. Yeah, that's up to you. It's literally free. You can always unsubscribe later if you hit my face or something. And yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you. Take care. Peace.